Today is Wednesday, 16th of July. Um, my name's Gavin McMahon. I'm talking to you from Brisbane down under, Brisbane, Australia. I've got Lad Holan with me. How are you, lad?
I'm doing well today on the 15th of July in the good
Yeah,
old US of A.
there you go. Lad and I recorded an interview last week around the same time on the 9th of July, or as you would say, July 9th.
Right.
We posted that on YouTube so people can see it. I've got quite a lot of responses back on that. Some people have come back straight away, some researchers. Um, the link to that first video will be in the description below for this one, and we'll have them both linked. So we're coming back just to do a little bit more clarification on some things. I did receive some questions from some researchers, so we're going to ask Lad about those. And a couple of little things we also forgot to mention. So just putting this in perspective, Lad and I talked last week, and Lad was able to explain the fact he went down to Dealey Plaza, saw the JFK motorcade. He then left there with his father, went back to his school area, quickly left the school and walked down 10th Street and came across the Tippit scene. He then ended up down at the bowling alley, Oakcliff Lanes on Jefferson, and there was a strange event there with a man coming in that had a pistol and was eventually sort of shooed out of the place by the manager. We then also talk about Lad's mother, Doris Holan, and Lad's sort of confirming they lived at their Patton Street apartment, and her story about being there, seeing a second police car drive through a driveway at the time of the Tippit shooting, which of course there is no official record of a second police car being there. And she also spoke about seeing two men at the corner and also seeing Oswald. And Ladd was also able to reveal that Dale Myers had showed Ladd a video which had a clip of some people being interviewed on the street at the time, and they were talking about people, driveways and alleys and going this way. And so that recording for a few minutes of several people has not made the light of day. And so he's able to just provide all this information. Just a couple of things, Ladd, if we could. In the interview last week, one of the researchers just asked, you mentioned when you're down at the motorcade about seeing some commotion at the motorcade. Can you just clarify what you meant by that word commotion?
Yes. Commotion was after the motorcade slowed down to make the right-hand turn on Houston Street. People wanted to follow the motorcade. There was just, as a kid, it seemed like a million, but as an adult, it's probably several hundred people on all the walkways around the motorcade. Keeping in mind, there was officers walking the street, keeping people back. The motorcade went by, made the right turn. The masses of people followed it. My dad found me on the steps of the courthouse building, and he said, "Come on, let's go." We made our way through the crowd, and we slipped between a couple of vehicles that had passed by. I'm not sure what vehicles they were or anything. As a kid, I didn't remember, but I know there's several vehicles that were following the motorcade. We went back up Houston Street, the opposite direction of the motorcade, and got away from the crowds to my father's pickup. I guess he knew where to park at the right time during that time.
Okay.
Once we left there, I don't know which way we went to get back to my school, but it didn't seem like it took a very long time.
Yep.
And when we got to the school, he wanted to know if I needed a note to get in school. I said, "No, I'm not going to school. I'm going home." He dropped me off at the school.
Yeah, mate, that's good. You just clarified that. So you didn't see or know at the time when you were at Dealey Plaza that shooting had occurred. You didn't hear anything. You didn't know
No,
anything.
we heard about on radio, on KRLD radio in my dad's truck, that They said shots were fired at Dealey Plaza. The motorcade had sped away with the president's car. They didn't know anything. They just said for people to stay away and give the police their room. And that's all we heard on the radio between the time that my dad, it was different ABC News breaking in, Walter Cronkite breaking in, these old news broadcasters at the time with all this news that the president had been shot. And by the time I got to the school, that's all I had heard. So I knew I wasn't going to the school. I was going home.
Yeah. You talked about the Oak Cliff Lanes, and of course, that's on Jefferson. I think it's 309. It was just on the corner of the Indian Story. And we can just cover a couple of points on that about some bit more detail. Would I be correct in saying that that's a Friday afternoon at the Oak Cliff Lanes? So at this time, when you went down there to see if you could get some, a bit of casual work there, as you normally did, cleaning up and everything, that's after the lunchroom or the lunchtime kind of rush hour. So we're talking about 1:30 or quarter to 2 even. So it's after the lunch.
That's correct. Because when I left the Dairyway and went back up towards the bowling alley, besides there being a lot of cars and people out, when I got into the bowling alley, the cafe's on the right. There's several booths there, several bar stools. It's not a big place. Had one waitress and a cook. Yeah. And I would go in. They have on Fridays, they start weekend tournaments, bowling tournaments. Yeah. In the mornings, there's tournaments. So I was there to clean up after the morning tournaments. I had gone in the back, lubricated all the AMC bowling machines, checked for anything that might be not aligned right or adjusted right, swept the bowling alley lanes, and was in the process of picking up all the trash at the bowling alley, in the lanes. There wasn't very many people in there because, like Gavin said, the lunch rush in the United States at that time was between 12 and 1. And usually all of the bowling tournaments were early in the morning. They would quit like 11 and start up again around 2 or 3 in the afternoon on Fridays. Yep. So then they would bowl at night, have night leagues. Yep. So that's where I overheard the conversation between the two guys in suits and the one Dallas policeman, that the waitress, when the man came in the door, he had a pistol in his belt, and he ran straight away back into the game room where the bathrooms were. Yeah. And that's when, I don't remember who the manager was at time. And he went back and ran him out.
Yeah. Okay. So if you had to have a guess as to how many sort of people were in there, what would be roughly what you think, how many patrons?
There was probably a half dozen, maybe 8.
Yeah. Okay.
Not counting the mechanic who always sat at the far end of the cafe at a bar stool. He would drink sodas and coffees there, and the manager behind the counter, and probably 8.
Yeah. Okay. And the waitress that you're referring to, she's handling the orders and delivering the food and running the bar and grill. How far? Sorry.
When she's like after a rush, like after the noon rush, there's not that many people there, so she's not doing a whole lot. She's standing there probably chit-chatting with a lot of the people, the customers that are there.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why I think she had the time to see the guy run in, because as you walk in the front door of the bowling alley, the little cafe is right on the right.
So
It's
how
not a
far
big.
is she from the front door? Like how many feet?
The cafe probably 7, 8 feet, 10 feet
Okay. And
from where she would be working.
if she wasn't there and she was at the counter of the cafe, how far is the distance to the bathrooms? Looking across.
Probably 35, 40 feet,
Yeah,
maybe a little
not a
more.
long way. Not a long way.
Not very far at all, no,
Yeah, yeah,
because the hallway going in, the alleyway going in, or walkway going in was not that wide because we had a display case, a trophy display case on the left. Then the counter where the manager was standing or taking care of all the lanes and renting shoes and whatnot there.
yeah,
Then around the corner to the left, a few feet, is a game room where the pool tables and pinball machines were at, and the
yeah,
bathrooms.
yeah. And when you went in there, you just experienced quite a frightening scenario, earlier seeing Tippett's body on the ground, shot, and all the commotion there. When you went into the bowling alley, did you tell the people there about what had happened, what you saw? And
No, no, I didn't, because there was a lot of people everywhere, and I didn't say anything to anybody about what had happened, what happened with me. Um, for one thing, um, at that time, who's going to pay attention to a 13-year-old kid,
yeah,
And and everybody else was talking within amongst themselves, and they had the TVs and radios going. I do
at,
remember that.
at the bar and grill area there.
Yeah, at the cafe. Yeah.
But there's not a lot of people in there. You said that.
No, there wasn't a lot of people.
Yeah. And
There wasn't a lot of people that day.
so did they know about the Tippett scenario that an officer had been shot?
I
I know.
don't know that.
Yeah.
I don't know that. I wouldn't have known that
Yeah.
because I didn't talk to them. I didn't spend time with them.
No. And the story then that evolves from that point on for however long afterwards is the story that obviously only the people there that knew about it, that this guy had come in off the street, been spotted
Yeah.
with a revolver in his belt, as looks like he knows his way around because he's gone down quickly into an area where he knows a bathroom is because he's gone straight in there and hid. The
Yeah,
manager's
he knew the store. He knew the location. He had to because not everybody knows where the bathrooms were back there.
yeah, okay. And he's
I know this when I was emptying the trash cans behind the front counter and at the front counter where the police in the suits were standing. Uh, I know that the waitress is the one that said that she saw the guy come in and spotted the pistol in his belt.
yeah, okay.
And that's where the manager took back and went and ran him out.
Yeah.
And
And then,
he said he happened to find him in the bathroom.
yeah.
So
And obviously we can talk about why he's in there. He hasn't come in to do some bowling on his own. He hasn't come in to have something to eat.
no.
He did know where it looks like his way around in there because he's gone quickly to the toilet. And the manager was obviously alerted and shoot him out of there. But the story that then evolves over time, because I remember when you first told me a little bit about this, um, is that that's Oswald. That's the belief that this is Oswald. Now we don't have a description that you can recall any description because you didn't see it. You're hearing this, but I suppose
No, I didn't see it. I didn't hear it. And I didn't hear anybody giving a description.
no. But I suppose
So
one of the things we can try and do is say, well, if the story stayed that way, that it was linked to Oswald, or whoever people want to believe is Oswald, um, that description of the age of the person, for example, seems to match because the story then didn't say, oh, well, actually, no, that couldn't be the same guy that was arrested because this guy that ran him was a 40-year-old, bit of an overweight guy. That story didn't change. They kind of linked it to the Oswald scenario, which is just
yeah,
around the corner where the Tippit was shot.
yeah, I didn't hear any kind of confirmation that they knew who ran in there.
No, so it's an unknown part of this equation.
Yeah.
what I might do now is just share something, and we'll go to our next.
Okay.
Go to our slide. We've only got a couple of slides here. How's that, lad? Can you see that one?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's the corner of 10th and Patton. That's the building I lived in with the gals walking down the street. The girl at the back in the dress with the glasses, that's my older sister, Charlene. And she had to be coming from the house on Patton because you're looking at the building, the shooting was behind the cameraman, and she's coming from it.
Yep.
Showing my mom's car there.
Your mum's car, yeah. And when you were first sort of contacted by Myers about all this stuff, you didn't know what was going on, so you didn't actually reveal that to him?
I didn't reveal to him that that was my older sister, no, but I did reveal to him that that's where we lived and my mom's car.
Yeah, yeah.
The other gals, I don't know who they were.
Yeah.
So
in Myers' article, he talks about your mum and your two siblings living in that apartment. And
yes.
in that first article, he's mistakenly got it down as you, your younger brother, and your younger sister. Can you clarify who was living there in that apartment?
It was my older sister because my little sister was living with my grandparents in Terrell, Texas.
And what was her name?
Middleton, O.W. and Jesse Middleton.
Yeah.
They lived on High Street in Terrell, Texas. After I got older, I bought a motor scooter and I would drive it out to see my little sister and my grandparents there where she was living.
So your little sister was living with the grandparents. And how old was she?
Well, she was born in 57 and this was 63. So she was 5 at the time.
And what was her first name?
6 years old. I'm sorry.
What was
her name was Mary.
Okay.
Mary Ellen.
And your understanding, that's Mary that you then spoke to after Myers had contacted you and said that he'd spoken to your sister. Is that correct?
Yes. When I got off the conversation with Dale, it interested me because I hadn't heard anybody talking about this in the family. And so I called my sister Mary and I said, hey, I just got a phone call from this guy by the name of Dale Myers. And he said that you told him what Mom saw the day that Tippit was killed on the corner down here. And she said, yep. I told him that she said she heard the shot. She looked out the window and saw a second police car coming down the alley. And later, there was a video that I think Dale sent me that showed an interview, a reporter making an interview of the people standing around on the corner on the street. And one of them, I'm pretty sure, was my mom making a statement that she saw the other car and the guy run down the street and the other car pull out of the alley. And when she made that statement, she pointed down the direction towards our house on Patton.
Right.
And the angle of the camera and the way they were standing in the street.
So when you spoke to Mary, she confirmed that she had said that to Dale Myers?
Yes, she did she was contacted by Dale, but all she could tell him was what my mom told her.
Did she?
And I have no idea when my mom told her this.
Yeah. Did your sister say that she'd seen that video clip or not?
No, I didn't ask her about the video clip.
Okay.
It didn't cross my mind. I was just wondering what she said because Dale said that he had gotten in touch with her and she wasn't even living there. So I don't know how she had the information, but evidently her and my mom had a conversation about it. I don't know if it was after Dale called her or before mom passed or what. I don't know when that conversation happened.
No, well, I think it's later because you said in that first video that you said you were talking to Dale Myers in 2000, but you meant to say what year?
Right. It was 2020.
2020, yeah. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure.
it wasn't 2000. I was having a brain fart.
Yeah, okay. Well, I think Myers has put in his article 2020 or 2021 that he was talking to you and also the sister. So it's certainly your mother had passed, I think, in 2000. So it's something.
Yeah, the article that Dale put out was dated November 19th, 2020. And it
Yeah,
was put out just after I'd talked to him because that's when you and I started our conversation.
yeah.
Wasn't too
And
long after that, I believe.
when I contacted you, you didn't know anything about Myers's article. You hadn't been sent it. You didn't know anything about it.
No, no, he said he was going to send it and he never did.
Yeah,
You ended up sending it to me.
yeah. So I suppose the story, as I understand it, then is that you were contacted by Myers. You didn't understand anything about what he was referring to about your mother talking about another police car and whatever. He mentions your sister. You then contact your sister, Mary. She confirms, yes, she had told Myers all his information. So she confirmed what Mike Brownlow and Pulte had identified from Doris Holan, the principal theme, that there's a second police car
Right.
backing up a driveway, probably gone out onto the alley, and that she saw other things as well, Oswald and two men. But your sister's kind of confirmed that, but Dale doesn't put that in the article, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. And why I don't know. I just think that there's some reading between the lines there going on there that's I hope what happened with me kind of confirms that where we were at and living at the time.
Yeah, yeah. And what your sister told you and sent in
Yeah.
written messages to you, so there's no confusion about what she was saying to you verbally. Um,
Right.
well, we put
Texted.
it in. Yeah, we put it in the first video that we've invited Dale Myers
Right.
to talk about it and reveal why he didn't include this information that your sister Mary said to him, and why that wasn't included in the article about the second police car that Doris Holan saw, and why also, and if possible, could Myers also release this video clip that he's got that goes for several minutes of somebody, we're assuming a reporter, talking to people at the Tippit scene at the time on the day right there, which
I
would
would
be
like to
very
see
helpful.
that because that would confirm it, I think.
Yeah, yeah. Well, look, just moving on here, we'll just go to the next slide, and this is just a little bit to do with the fact that you've left. You explained how you left Dealey Plaza with your father in his pickup. You don't recall, obviously, a lot of details, but you don't think it was sort of took you a huge amount of time to get to the school.
Back to school. Yeah. No, it wasn't long at all. Um, when we left Houston Street, we walked to his pickup. I don't remember the way he went, but I know Houston, the viaduct, all that was closed off because of the presidential parade.
Yeah,
And I do not know the way he got back to the school, but I know it didn't take him very long.
yeah, okay,
And when I left the school, I came up. I'm, if I remember right, it was Ninth Street because there was a Mrs. Baird's Bakery across from the school grounds. I'd walk past the bakery and go to Lansing down 10th Street to the house.
yeah. And again, we can't get any closer with timings, but it doesn't look like, for example, you didn't hang around the school and wait for your siblings or find out if they,
No,
were. You
no,
just took
like
off.
I said, my dad wanted to know if I needed a note to get in school, and I said no because I'm cutting classes. I'm going home.
Yeah, and you didn't stop at the bakery, so you're just on your
No,
way. Because at that
no.
stage,
The Mrs. Baird's Bakery was only open in the mornings.
Yeah. Yep.
The thrift store that was there.
Yeah.
It was only open from like 5 or so in the morning till like noon.
Yeah.
They didn't. It wasn't open all day.
And when you're leaving there and heading back towards your home area, what are you planning on doing that afternoon?
I was going to go to work,
Yeah.
see
So
if I could
you're
make
you're
some
not
money.
you're not dilly-dallying around. You're sort of on a bit of a mission to get back as quick as you can.
Yeah,
Well, we've sort
yeah,
of worked it out and said, well, if you look at Google Maps there, it's sort of saying it's about zero point 0.3, maybe zero point
yeah.
0.4 of a mile. It
That
takes 7 minutes to
that
get.
looks about right.
Yeah.
But I never walked down Marsalis. It was always too busy. Too many people on Marsalis Avenue.
And you didn't stop that day and check out the phone booths to see if there's any coins floating around.
No, I did that in the evenings. Give them all day to collect coins. Don't
Um,
let the phone company know that.
so if we talk about the time period and say that the Dealey Plaza area to your school, according to Google Maps, similar, it's only about 4 miles, depending on what route you take, but it's give or take on various routes, it's about four and a bit miles, um, which according to Google Maps doesn't take more than 10 minutes, but we're talking a different time, different era.
Yeah,
Even if we say it took 20 minutes, and you're talking about a 7 minute walk, you're over at the Tippit scene within 30 minutes.
yeah. It wasn't long. It didn't seem like it took long
Yeah,
because you know after I'd heard about the on the radio, my dad's pickup truck radio. After I'd heard that and everything going on, um, I was really not interested in, like I said, going to school or going home. Just going home and go to work, go see if I could make a little money.
yeah, yeah. Um, I've got one question for you. Someone asked, lad, do you think there was a conspiracy in the assassination of John F. Kennedy?
Do I think it was a conspiracy?
In the assassination of John F. Kennedy?
Well, um, I got a little story, a little detail I need to tell you, I guess. After the assassination, me and Father Michael, um, I call him my friend because to this day, I think he was a friend to me, probably a friend to others too. But I was interested, and I asked him one time, "How would you find out why somebody would want to shoot a president?" So he and I would go to the library and research things. We did it at the church there because they had a library there at school, and we'd go to the library down off of Jefferson. I believe it was off of Jefferson, either that or off of Marsalis, maybe close in there. I can't remember, but we'd go to that library and we researched it. We researched things, and I started following the history of politics. And do I think it was a conspiracy? Yeah.
Yeah,
Because of my history and what I know about weapons, I definitely think there was more than one shooter
yeah.
in Dealey Plaza that day.
All righty. Now, you did tell me that at one stage after you'd spoken to your sister and um, I'd been in touch with you, and all of a sudden you got a phone call from Dale Myers out of the blue. Is that correct?
Um, it was either a contact over a text message or a phone call. I think it was a phone call because he was wanting to clarify some things, especially that about what my mom said.
Yeah.
And at that time, I hadn't gotten in touch with my sister.
Right.
So that's when I got in touch with my sister
Yeah. Yeah.
and living where we were living. And I told him about the letter my mom received from my grandfather, my dad's dad,
Yeah.
John Holan.
Yeah.
Uh, on Chris, it was in November at Thanksgiving. It was for Thanksgiving letter and
Yeah.
Christmas, wishing us holidays and stuff.
Yeah. And that's got that address at Patton Street.
On Patton, yes.
Yeah. But was there another time that Dale contacted you and was asking you some questions about me?
Yeah, it was the same conversation, as a matter of fact, because it interested me because I wanted to know why he was concerned that somebody else had contacted me and what I had been saying. And my response to him was not any more than what I told him until I had gotten to know you better and to get some other information uh, that I saw through the article that you sent me from Dale Myers. That's when I really got interested and more or less just let you solicit information, and we did this video.
Yeah, and then of course you'd spoken to your sister and started to realise there was a lot more to this whole
Right.
story. So out of the blue, Myers was just asking you if you'd spoken to Gavin McMahon from Australia. You didn't volunteer that. He had the name?
No, no, I didn't. I gave him the name after he asked if I was talking to anybody. And I said, yeah, a guy in Australia by
Yeah,
name of
okay.
Gavin.
Yeah, okay.
And another person, a guy by name of Matt. I
Yeah.
don't even know his last name. But he got so irritating, I just finally blocked his calls. He didn't
Yeah,
let
well,
anything rest.
we made mention of him briefly the other day, and I had to do something similar. He became a little bit
Yeah,
abusive, so I blocked him.
he's obnoxious.
All right, now there's a few other articles. Sorry, in the Myers article, there's a couple of statements. We covered a couple last video that were very incorrect, um, and you were able to clarify the correct information. I've got a couple more. These are in Myers article. Would you be able to comment about these to say whether they're correct or not? I've got a bit of a theory as to why they're there. So in the article, it says, lad spotted an old torn up blanket on a sofa sitting on the porch of one of the houses on the south side of the street. He turned to a woman who was there and asked, can I get that blanket off that sofa to cover him up? The woman said it was all right, and lad and another girl got the blanket off the sofa and covered up the officer. So, lad, we'd already in the last video you talked about where you got the blanket from, which was Caddy Corner, couple of houses down on west on 10th Street. So, did you say all that information there that I've just read out that Myers put in his article?
No, no, I did not. I did not tell him. I did not ask anybody. I knew where the blanket was because I had a paper route where I threw papers along the same street. I knew the blanket was on the sofa. I ran and got it. This little girl followed me, or young girl followed me over there. She stopped before I got to the house. I got the blanket and went back to the car.
Right. So you didn't go to a house on the south side, just near the car, on the south side of 10th Street?
No,
No.
no.
So you've gone west across the
I
road.
went west. I went west.
Yeah, okay.
It was west side of the west and southwest of the Tippit car.
Northwest? Tibbetts car's
Northwest.
on the Tibbetts on
You're
the
correct.
yeah, on
Yeah,
the northwest side.
yeah, you're correct.
Okay. Well, my thoughts on that is that how did he get that so very, very wrong? Was it an accident or was it
I
somehow?
don't know if it was an accident or if he was reading something in there.
Yeah,
You
okay.
know, uh, I was a good kid, tried to be a good kid, but I didn't stop to ask anybody permission.
Yeah, no, no, no. I got you. Um, the thing with that, why I think this is my thoughts. I've got nothing to back this up per se, but um, this article that he's writing at the time, the first one in particular, he's trying to disconnect you from the pattern from the 10th Street house. He's trying to make this big argument that you have nothing to do there, you never lived there at that time. So he's kind of disconnecting. That's my theory. That he's disconnecting you. So all of a sudden he said that you went to a house on the south side because if he'd said you'd gone across the road to the north side, that might give the impression you knew that house over there and you decided to go over there and get the blanket. So I don't know, but just a theory. Um,
Yeah,
within straight after that comment in the article, again, this isn't the Myers article. I think it's still in there. I've got the three versions if ever people want to have a look at the changes. Within seconds of covering the officer with a blanket, an ambulance arrived. Did you say that, Myers?
No, no, because within seconds of covering Tippit's face, I went back around by the big tree into my house and dumped off because people are stopped all in the road on Patton, and they were looking, and I ran to the entrance of 113.5 Patton, dropped my bookcase, and then went back to the tree. And when I got back to the tree, the ambulance was backing up, pulling up to the scene there.
Yeah, yeah. And that's, from your recollection, that's the first ambulance that arrived.
Yeah.
And again, just my thoughts on that. Like Dale's put that in there, but you didn't say that, so that's wrong. But I get the sense that Dale's trying to make sure speed is of the essence here, because there are questions over the times of the shooting. I certainly believe it's much earlier than the official 1:16 p.m. I think it's probably closer to 9 or 10. And of course, we've got documents at the Methodist Hospital, authorization for autopsy and all sorts of other records, 2 records in particular, that show a time of death of 1:15 at the hospital for Tippit. So I think there's a sort of a subtle message in there that all this happened all very quickly, because as soon as you put the blanket down, the ambulance is there and whisked Tippit away, which, as you've just pointed out, is wrong. There's probably a couple of minutes further delay involved with everything you just did there, walking back to the house and then coming back. There's another one there that the original article says nothing at all about when you moved from 10th Street to Patton Street. But all of a sudden in the subsequent articles, this says that by September 1963, the Holan family moved to their second residence in Central Oak Cliff, an apartment in his 2-story building, 113 South Patton Avenue, located adjacent to the alley. And then he's got in brackets reference 31, note, according to one family member, the Holan family was living at 113.5 South Patton by September 1963, although the exact date could not be confirmed by other family members. So my question for you, lad, is did you tell Dale that in September 63 you moved from 10th Street to Patton Avenue?
No, because I don't know when we moved to 10th Street or Patton.
And the only other family member that we know
would be my mom.
And yeah, exactly. And the only other person that would have any conversation with Dale is his sister Mary. Mary's in grade 1 at the time and didn't even live there. Would she be able to clarify that it's September 1963 that the family that she wasn't living with at the time moved from 10th Street to Patton?
I doubt it. I don't think she knew anything about our lives at that time because she wasn't involved.
No.
She didn't start going to the Catholic school till the 3rd grade, I think.
Yeah, yeah. All right, well, enough said of that. I've got a couple of comments here I just wanted to make, which you can maybe make some comment if you want later. But so it appears to me, sort of analysing where we've got to, that Mike Brownlow and Bill Pulte were the first ones that brought all this to people's attention of your mother's story about the police car in the alley that reversed out. Brownlow may not have got everything correct in his presentations, YouTube, and he may have had additional information sourced from others, including your mother, including Harry Olsen, Max Long's presence at Tippit Stream. These things may have been weaved into his presentation. I don't know. But his comments on the second police car are being validated by your comments here today and the earlier video that this is what your mother told your sister Mary, and you've relayed all that information. So we've got a number of things here that sort of point to the second police car. We've got Helen Markham telling her family, they've told me, that she said there was a second police car in the alley. Sam Ginyard, who worked for the car yard there at the back of Patton, told Brownlow in 71 about the second police car. He's probably seen some other things. Virginia Davis, in her statement to the Warren Commission, talks about police at the scene as soon as she came out onto the street. Doesn't mention a police car, but she says the police are already there. Well, who are they?
Right.
Edgar Tippit, in the conversations with Joe McBride in his very good book, Into the Nightmare, clearly talks about the police were called to intercept Oswald. So we've got suspicion of other police in the area besides Tippit. Adise Menzel makes sort of a similar comment about the police being there to intercept Oswald. Um, so all of that is very, very relevant. And I don't think this information can be ignored. I wanted to thank you, lad, for your efforts on this, journey of discovery that's been over a few years. You and your mother are part of history. I found you to be very straight, very honest, careful with what you were saying. If you didn't know something, you said so, as you've just done before. You're not making stuff up or just trying to fill gaps. There's bits of the information bits of the story we will never know. I just wanted to make an observation too about family members, and they are an important source of information. We should not undervalue their importance. You listen, you question, you analyse, you weigh it all up. They know stuff. Families know stuff. Think about, people think about your own family secrets. The Markham family members, Ken Scoggin, Doris and Lad Holan, Adise Menzel, Edgar Tippit, have helped through imparting what they know. They've peeled away the layers to reveal the truth. I draw a sort of an analogy of how you can kind of look at these things. If you believe there's a conspiracy, you can look at the Warren Commission information, the Dallas Police Department, the FBI information in relation to JFK and Tippit. You have to sort of be careful putting 100% faith in all that, because there's been a cover-up, and I think I'm certainly of that view. And if I give a little example, if we're talking about the Malacano rifle up in the 6th floor, if we're talking about a wallet that appears at the Tippit scene, which never officially is recorded as being there. You've also then got to draw into question about Oswald and a revolver. Is the revolver going to be the one that's in evidence now, the one that they're relying on Oswald to bring to the scene? If there was a plan to intercept him and if there was a plan to kill him, they couldn't be relied on the fact that if he's going to, if the police are going to say that he drew a gun, and Tippit had to shoot him in self-defense, which is what I think was going to happen. They can't rely on him having bought the revolver that's got his name in the order form. So people need to probably look, I think, a little bit wider than just the specific information that they're quoting time and time again about the different bullets and the different casings and the different this and that. To me, the Doris Holan story about the second police car and the driveway at the Tippit shooting is credible and convincing. It passes, as we say in Australia, the pub test with flying colours. It helps reveal there was a planned clandestine police operation to intercept Lee Oswald. It was not a random stop by Tippit. This too is not necessarily a case of extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. We're talking about a struggling divorced mum of 4 who is at home. Hears shooting, looks out a window, sees a police car drive through an alley. Oswald, 2 men, reports it to the police. That's not extraordinary claims. That's just somebody there that just sees certain things. Similarly with Virginia Davis in the Warren Commission testimony. To make a claim, she's just saying, by the time she got outside to the street, this man, Oswald, had gone around the corner. She went out with her sister-in-law. The police were already there. So that's not an extraordinary claim. That's just an observation that someone made. She gives testimony to that. And she puts it in context that it's before the ambulance arrived. They waited for the ambulance to arrive. So she hasn't got her times mixed up. So in summary here, like Lad's sister Mary has told Dale Myers about what Doris Holan had said to her about the second police car. Your mother didn't speak to you about it. You don't know why. We're never going to find that out. She talked about 2 men and one that she said was Oswald, and she reported it to the police. So the question's got to be, why did Dale Myers not include that in his article to tell people that this is significant information? It's been excluded from his article. So look, Lad, again, I just wanted to thank you for all your time over this few years, because we sort of back and forth and a little bit of more information. You've been able to, I think, do it very carefully, just thinking about things, and every now and again, like even this morning, we were having a bit of a chat. You suddenly remembered the trophy cabinet in the
Yeah.
bowling alley. So bit by bit, things start to come back to you. And I think we made the comment that this is an extraordinary event. And you're down in Dealey Plaza, you see the president go past. You're then in a car 10 minutes later hearing there's been shooting in the motorcade where you just were, and they think the president's shot. You're then walking past school. 5 minutes later, 7 minutes later, you're down, and there's a police car and a dead policeman right in front of you. You then go around the bowling alley to get some work, because that's what you do. And they're talking about this guy coming in with a gun. And then the whole story starts to involve about president assassination. You don't know anything about, your mother never told you stuff about what she saw that day. You find out, even when Myers asks you, you don't know anything about it. But then later you find out from your sister. And we've then spent a lot of time trying to put all this accurately as best we can to sort of unveil, reveal the true story, not what's in Myers' article, but the information that your mother saw that day and what you saw and experienced as well.
You know, if I would have known my mother had seen something that day, after I had started doing research with Father Michael, I would have asked my mom.
Yeah.
I would have said, hey, what did you see anything, you know? Because it was so bothersome to me to think that somebody could do something as atrocious as what happened. And the way these events happened, I didn't consider it to be anything other than, you know, being at the wrong place at the wrong time for some of these folks. But,
Yeah.
you know, and I saw enough of that growing up as a kid. And I never paid it any mind, never thought about it again till Dale Myers got in touch with me, and then consequently you got in touch with me.
And we've spent a fair bit of time trying to put the accurate sort of story out there.
Well, I will say this. You spent a fair amount of time helping me remember what happened that day, what I did that day. And I don't know why I had put it and didn't ever think about it again. But I thank you for your diligence and what you did to help me. You know,
my pleasure.
I mean, you didn't put any words in my mouth. You came around about things in a misleading direction, and all of a sudden, hey, no, that's not what happened. This is what happened.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's good. Well, look, we might finish the recording here now, lad. So again, Thank you very much. And we never know, we might be back for part 3, but at the moment, that'll do.
Thank you, Gavin.
If I get any more questions, I'll pass them on to you.
All right. Good deal.